视频开始之前，大家记得点击订阅哦。
Hello， 大家好，我是 Sophia。大家在考 PTE 的过程中，是不是或多或少都听说过 PTE 口语考试可能会因为你声音不识别，导致你口语拿到一个比较惨的分数，比如说双10分。很多同学的发音其实并没有那么差，但是为什么发音就是没有分数呢？一般来说，遇到声音不识别的现象呢，在女生身上发生的比较多。但是呢，今天我要给大家分享的是，男同学可能也会因为声音过高，或者是声音太飘，导致机器不识别，拿到一个很低的口语分数。我有一个学生，他的雅思口语是7分，但是他考 PTE 呢，发音只有40来分，然后口语呢，连60分都不到。那他是什么问题呢？待会儿呢，我会给大家看一下他的考试成绩，以及他最早的时候为什么只能拿到40多分，他读 RA 是怎样读的，大家可以来听一下他的声音，感受一下。他的声音呢，听起来不是很沉，有一点飘，然后调呢也是偏高的那种。他这样去讲口语呢，只能拿到40来分的发音。后来呢，我们在声音上做了一些调整，他再去做模考的时候，他的发音就可以达到60分了。流利度方面呢，他之前说话的语速是偏慢的，我们再注意一下节奏感和语速稍微加快一点，流利度就可以达到90了。那么在60多分的发音和90分的流利度下呢，他的口语呢也拿到了90分。我也给大家附上了他之后拿到90分的口语做的一个模拟，大家可以去听一下声音的对照。如果说你也有音高的问题或者声音不识别，那么大家可以来参考一下这位同学的一个答题状态。希望今天的分享呢能够对大家有帮助。接下来呢，我们听一下这个同学之前只有40多分的发音，他的 RA 是怎么作答的。然后听完了之后呢，我给大家简单的分析一下他这个声音上的问题。
Akimbo, this must be one of the odd-looking words in the language and puzzles us in part, because it doesn't seem to have any relatives. What's more, it's now virtually a fossil word, until recently almost invariably found in Aunt Akimbo, a posture in which a person stands with hands on hips and elbows sharply bent outward, one that signals impatience, hostility, or contempt. Another administration option is to bake marijuana at a relatively low temperature to kill any dangerous microorganisms, and then allow that patient to eat it or drink it. Both of these methods of administration make smoking a joke unnecessary. However, criticism of medical marijuana has also been raised because as a natural plant, it cannot be patented or marketed by pharmaceutical companies and is unlikely to win widespread medical acceptance.
大家听完了这个同学读的 RE， 有没有觉得他的声音有点高，有点飘呢？绝大部分的男同学说话声音还是比较沉的。如果说大家对声音高或者是声音比较低、比较沉没太有概念的话，我再给大家找了一个声音比较好的例子给大家做一个参考和对比。好，我们来听一下这个同学呢，他是90分的发音，我们听一下他的声音特点是什么样的。
This finding is understandable in certain cases in spite of its high significance. That is, because the energy efficiency of building operation just represents a single aspect of sustainability.
没有对比就没有伤害，对不对？大家听完了90分的发音，是不是就能明显的感觉到前一个同学他的声音是有一些问题的了？另外呢，这个同学他低分的原因主要还有节奏感不是特别强，他的阅读基础其实是挺不错的，雅思阅读都可以考到8分以上，但是呢他的语速和节奏感不是很强，如果说一群之间能读得再紧凑一点的话就会好很多，语速呢需要稍微再加快一点。另外呢，这个同学还有一些发音错误，这些错误呢是很多同学都会犯的。我给大家举几个例子，比如说很多同学是不是会把 it is 念成 it，就像这个同学这样，如果说你看到的 RE 它不是缩写，你把它念成缩写的话，那这里你就错掉2个单词了。还有就是拼读的问题，比如说 impatience 读成了 impatiency， 这个就是拼读的错误。还有 natural 这个单词呢，很多同学会读成 natural， 注意一下这个元音的发音。另外呢，发音还要饱满，比如说 widespread， 这个同学在读那个 spread 那个 at 的短元音的时候就发音不是很清晰。还有一个吞音的现象 acceptance， 不是 acceptance， 是 a k， 还有一个 k 的音，不要把这个音给吞掉了。再比如说很多同学读 picture lecture， 对吧？是不是容易吞掉 k 这个音啊？另外呢，比如说 recently 这个单词读成了 recently， 这也是元音的错误。所以说这个同学呢，他的发音的错误呢，主要是集中在一些元音上面。如果说他的发音还想在60分往上走的话，那就需要去纠正一些发音的错误了。但是呢，他最主要的问题还是在声音的识别上，他之前的音色呢有点偏高，然后声音呢在模考里面大家可以去听到他的声音会平稳一些，然后流利度上啊、节奏感啊、语速上啊都控制的要好一些，所以说口语还是可以拿到90分。大家可以接下去看一下他的一个答题过程。
The main difference on this occasion was that the colonists were not just fighting against the king who was determined to use his own prerogative. They were also fighting against a parliament which believed that it and it alone should raise taxes and control revenues. The main difference on this occasion was that the colonists were not just fighting against a king who was determined to use his own prerogative. They were also fighting against a parliament which believed that it and it alone should raise taxes and control revenues, rights which had been won in the previous century. Interceding at every stage is not, of course, infallible, and scientists are subject to human error as much as the rest of us. A scientist's evidence is thought to be reliable because it will have been tested and verified at every stage. This is not, of course, infallible, as scientists are subject to human error as much as the rest of us. The most obvious change is that 46 of the college's undergraduates are now women. When I went there, it was only the third year that women had been admitted, and about 70% of students were male. 46. The most obvious change is that 46 of the college undergraduates are now women. When I went there, it was only the third year that women had been admitted, and about 70% of students were male. As we progress into the 21st century, communications are becoming faster and faster. Think of the millions of different media images you are bombarded with every day. It's as important now to be able to read and make sense of those images as it has been to be able to read ordinary text. As we progress into the 21st century. As we progress into the 21st century, communications are becoming faster and faster. Think of the millions of different media images you are bombarded with every day. It's as important now to be able to read and make sense of those images as it has been to be able to read ordinary text. In the past, wars have led to inflation and higher commodity price. Commodity prices. Fighting disrupts trade and prevents materials from being shipped from one country to another in second commodities. In the past, wars had led to inflation and higher commodity prices. Fighting disrupts trade and prevents raw materials from being shipped from one country to another. In Second World War, Britain, a banana was the height of luxury. Globalization refers to a set of changes rather than a single change. Many of these changes are social, cultural, and political rather than purely economic. And one of the main drivers, in addition to global marketplace, is the communications revolution. Globalization refers to a set of changes rather than a single change. Many of these changes are social, cultural, and political rather than purely economic. And one of the main drivers. Globalization refers to a set of changes rather than a single change. Many of these changes are social, cultural, and political rather than purely economic. And one of the main drivers, in addition to the global marketplace, is the communications revolution. Understanding of mathematics is vital for most science subjects. If we work on this together, we will work through it very quickly. The new law professor used to work for the World Bank. Many of our experts are very concerned of the future of our planet. The graph shows the percentage of people who smoke according to gender. The meeting is always on the third Wednesday in each month. We can go anywhere, do anything, achieve any height. Construction of Empire Building was constructed in 1981. People under 70 has a higher quality of life than those under 70. The area of Canada is more than 3.8 square miles. Road traffic breakdown. Vehicle kilometers, all motor vehicles, car and taxi. From 1952 to 2005. This graph gives information about road traffic in Great Britain regarding billions vehicle kilometers, including all motor vehicles and cars and taxis from 1952 to 2005. According to the graph, the largest number we can find is in all motor vehicles, which is about 5,000 billion. According to the graph, the lowest figure we can find is in cars and taxis, which is about 5%. It's clear that different types have different figures. To conclude, if you want to start again, we can start from stage 1. the figures continue the same trend, it will be hard to predict in the future. Economic and Social Research Council, UK unemployment rate from 1971 to 2006, percentage in percentage. This graph gives information about UK unemployment rate from 1971 to 2006 according to Economic and Social Research Council in percentage. According to the graph, the largest number we can find is in 1965, which is about 12%. According to the graph, the lowest figure we can find is in 1971, which is about 4%. It's clear that different years have different figures. To conclude, if the figures continue the same trend, it will be hard to predict in the future. Products, including product Z, Y, value in dollars. This graph gives information about sales by quarters in dollars in year 2004 regarding product Z, product Y, and product X. According to the graph, the largest number we can find is in product Z, which is about $10,000. According to the graph, the lowest figure we can find is in quarter 4, which is about $6,000. It's clear that different quarters have different figures. To conclude, if the figures continue the same trend, it will be hard to predict in the future. Life expectancy at birth Australia males and females from 1995 to 2005. This graph gives information about life expectancy at birth Australia regarding males and females from year 70 to 65, from year 1995 to 2005. According to the graph, the largest number we can find is in 2005, which is about 85 years old. According to the graph, the lowest figure we can find is in males, which is about 75 years old. It's clear that females and males have different figures. To conclude, if the figures continue the same trend, it will be hard to predict in the future. Adult literacy by region, literacy rates by sex from 2000 to 2004. Regarding wood, Sub-Saharan Africa, Latin America, and the Caribbean, Asia, Abra states. This graph gives information about adult literacy by region from 2000 to 2004, including world, Sub-Saharan Africa, Latin America, and the Caribbean, Asia, Abra states. According to the graph, the largest number we can find is in Latin America, which is about 91%. According to the graph, the lowest figure we can find is in Arab states, which is about 55%. It's clear that different regions have different figures. To conclude, if the figures continue the same trend, it will be hard to predict in the future. Economic conditions, the Philippines, 2000 to 2004. The Philippines, economic conditions in the Philippines from Consumer Price Index and GDP regarding. This graph gives information about economic conditions regarding the Philippines from the year 2000 to 2004, including Consumer Price Index and GDP. According to the graph, the largest number we can find is in GDP, which is about 140. According to the graph, the lowest figure we can find is in Consumer Price Index, which is about 100. It's clear that different types have different figures. To conclude, if the figures continue the same trend, it will be hard to predict in the future. This lecture is talking about coffee history. According to the lecture, the speaker mentioned that the coffee market is 60 billion and the growth is 5.5 billion. According to the lecture discussed that well-being countries like America, the US, Canada help Vietnam to create coffee industry. And also it's clear that the same applies for the Colombia, which relies on the coffee export industry. To conclude, the lecture is talking about coffee industries. The lecture is talking about girls and boys' performance in two main subjects, which is math and English. According to the lecture, the speaker mentioned that girls outperform boys in English. However, according to the lecture mentioned that girls and boys performed the same. There's no difference in mathematics. According to the lecture, after that, he mentioned that the performance of boys and girls are affected by biological factors and social factors. And by biological factors, the pattern of cognitive development and the then funding gender categories will. Oh, shit. This lecture is talking about which area of the industry needs most effort. According to a lecture, the speaker mentioned that IT needs the most efforts because it's time-consuming and it's complex. According to a lecture, the speaker mentioned that the consequence of the change of IT can be significant, and the integration of IT will be very difficult. It's clear that there are two other areas that will affect the industry, which is sales and marketing, which is about financial marketing and marketing. is very important. To conclude, the lecture is talking about areas. Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, England. Desert. Northeast. Make a profit. Inflation. Invalid password. Mathematics. Library. The library. Again in France. Electricity. "对，那是纣王了，我操！